All right. Lastly, Politico yesterday, big story about
Gavin
Gavin
Newsom.
Newsom being the front runner. So they caught up to this program a couple weeks late. That's fine. And it's a really interesting interview that Gavin Newsom did with Jonathan
Yeah.
Martin at Politico. If you haven't read it, you're interested in 2028, read it. I thought the article was right on point in several things, including Newsom's desire to suck up to the establishment press, which George Bush did in 2000 very effectively. It helps you win the nomination, even of the Republican Party, but certainly the Democratic Party, even now with all the hostility to suck up the establishment press. And Gavin Newsom displayed his wares on that. But it kind of gave short shrift, I thought, to some super important things that will be both positive and negative for potential Newsom campaign. So, guys, I'm going to ask you to start the week the same question I was asking last week. Is anybody going to try to slow this down? Or are people just going to hope that he comes down by his own weight, or that there's time to bring him back to earth later? Will anyone make a move against this guy in the foreseeable future to keep him from consolidating what is now, I believe, a very, very big edge? Doesn't mean he'll be the nominee, but he's got a very big edge, and no one's trying to slow him down that I see. Dan.
I don't think anyone will right now. I think that story ended with a little bit of an Achilles, which is that he doesn't really kind of potentially know what who he really is, and which is something that we've always talked about. And I think the reason you don't panic yet, if you're another 2028er, is he is not pulling away in the polls. Kamala Harris still leads him or is right next to him in most things, right? He's hovering around 21%, which is better than the 7% that he was at. If he gets to 35% over the next 6 months, or you start seeing that movement, then you have a problem. But I think right now, he's winning over the punditry. He's won over X. He's won over the consultant class. If I start seeing Nevada, South Carolina, states where he leads, Michigan, then, but right now you don't see it anywhere. You just don't.
Yeah,
John.
there's two things here. One is it is early, so you always have to wonder if you're someone on the outside, does he peak too early? Number two is that it comes back to the so who,
Yep.
right? I look at like Booker or Whitmer. I mean, it's like what are you going to do? Go out? I mean, the reason that Newsom has been successful is because he has engaged and he has engaged on social media and random platforms, and he said stuff in an engaging way. He's taken on Trump, and it's been cute and effective. I mean, like he's gotten the attention. The point of all this is to say that there's nobody else except for a guy like Ro Khanna who's actually willing to mix it up. I mean, right? And so you've got Rom, I think, who will go like, "Hey, I'll just raise a boatload of money, and then we'll drop a bunch of oppo on the guy." Like you have to have a tactic, and so right now, throwing a random punch is not a smart move.
Well, and in the last 50 years, has any Democrat in an open primary gone wire to wire? Never. So everyone's looking at Hillary in '08
Mondale.
was 84. Well, he was coming off. Okay, fine. So 40 years ago. So I said 50. I should have said 40. The history of our party, we are not like George W. Bush, where everyone's like, let's get on the battleship and ride. We tend to look for other people. We look for underdogs. We look for kind of the
Who'd you think the Democratic frontrunner was at the start of 2004, Dan?
Hillary Clinton.
Well, no, but of candidates who entered the race.
Nobody knew. They were the seven doors, everyone called them. I mean, look, I was intimately involved in that. We all thought Kerry was serious, but everybody was worried about Massachusetts and that he didn't really know what he stood for.
But he kind of was wire to wire. I'm just quibbling with you
No,
on this.
Howard Dean, absolutely. That fall was seen as he worked up. Kerry almost collapsed. Kerry almost collapsed.
When I say wire to wire, I just meant the same person who was the front runner ends up winning the nomination. Nobody has no near death experiences. Even George Bush did in 2000.
Yeah, but George Bush had like a 2-week gap between North Carolina and South Carolina. Kerry had like a 5-6 months where he almost went bankrupt. But it's
the same phenomena. Nobody has no bumpy moments.
Yeah, Kerry did not go. I mean,
my point is he was to the extent there was a front runner, he was the front runner, and then he ended up with the nomination.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.